I used to be able to name every nut that there was. And that used to drive my mother crazy because she used to say, Harlan Pepper, if you don't stop naming nuts. And the joke was, of course, that we lived in Pine Nut. And I think that's what put it in my head at that point. So I'd go to sleep. She'd hear me in the other room, and she would just start yelling. I'd say, peanut, hazelnut, cashew nut, macadamia nut. That was the one that would send her into going crazy.
TBTL.
You know, I would like to take this straw and stick it in your ear and extract everything you've ever thought or felt or seen or even dreamed about your profession.
I gotta be honest with you, sir. The kind of work I do, I don't think it's as interesting as you think it is.
My podcast is on life support. Hey, I need new listeners.
That was a joke. Humor is the tool of the interesting.
I was skeptical. It seemed too good to be true. I'm so glad I tried it.
All right, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Monday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
Oh my God, guys, we are crushing it.
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host, coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia.
When you grow up out here, you learn to tell facts from fertilizer.
Where we are just looking at an absolutely beautiful Monday. The 2nd of March, we made it.
Oh, Ma, Pa, it's just beautiful.
Got down to Lake Sacagawea this morning for a little brisk jog. The cherry blossoms are starting to blossom in places. The Daphne is doing its thing.
Beautiful purple balls.
I mean, we're 6 days out from springing ahead. Can you tell that I'm just in an absolutely spectacular mood on this Monday? It might be because also I have unlocked the new coffee creamer situation here. Like, I figured it out. Last week I was trying nut pods. That wasn't working, and trying to figure out a new plan, and now I have it figured out.
This song goes out to all the coffee lovers of the world.
It's a little unpaid plug for something called Nuri Protein Creamer, lactose-free sweet cream. Full explanation in a moment here on episode 4674 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
I'm also just happy because I'm here at the Madrona Hill studio again. It's got all my little stuff. Everything's where it's supposed to be. It's a lot better than hunching over a small coffee table in a hotel room like I was doing for most of last week. There is somebody, and listen, in this economy, I'm not out here, generally speaking, calling for people to lose their jobs. But there need to be consequences for somebody at the McDonald's Corporation.
You call hamburgers steamed hams?
Yes, it's a regional dialect.
For letting this video out that we have the audio of the CEO of McDonald's eating some new product that they're trying to push. And I use the term product advisedly because it comes up in the video. We'll talk about that today. And we'll talk to this guy, longest running co-bro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Oh, wow.
He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. Listen, there was something I wanted to talk to you about at the beginning of the show today, but it's a little bit involved, and it's not urgent. But as I listened to you kind of talk about what's coming up on the show today, I realize you have a lot on your mind. We're both coming in off the weekend with a lot to talk about. So, what I'm going to ask...
None of my stuff is urgent either. It's just I found a coffee creamer product that I like. That's about as urgent as it gets around here for me. Also, I've had 4 cups of coffee this morning because I've been doing all these different Pepsi challenges. So apologies if I'm bouncing off the walls.
Well, I thought I could maybe just put you on the spot here. Do you have a pen near? But you probably have a pen near. Oh, hello, Mr. Bingo. Don't step on anything that's going to...
I thought you were excited that I had a pen right here.
I am excited that you have a pen right there. I need you to... Because sometimes you will jot down a note for tomorrow's show, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So write down tomorrow, maybe even top story, or we can start with it. Okay, ready? Andrew's Columbo hat mystery. Andrew's Columbo hat mystery. Write that down. It's
being written down, but honestly, I would say it's That sounds a lot more interesting already than Creamer Talk.
I mean, it is pretty. It is from a 1991 episode of Columbo, so it's like, we're not reaching back to the 70s or something.
I thought somebody stole your hat and you had to go Columbo on it.
No, I have literally
let's do Creamer Talk.
A mystery about Columbo and a hat
about
that
an
he
episode
wears,
of Columbo,
and about a hat that he wears in this episode that I have been going and doing a lot of research on, and I am not satisfied with what I'm finding, and I'm going to tell you about that tomorrow.
Have you thought about hiring a Claude agent and asking it to go off and I don't know, I was listening to the Ezra Klein show this morning on my jog, and he was talking to the co-founder of Anthropic, and man, it's really, really wild out there with what these AI agents are able to do. And by the end of my jog, I thought, well, I guess I'm just going to have to hire one of these and then turn over every life decision to it.
And I think
or move to the woods and cut off all communication with society.
Well, I feel like I'm moving,
only one of the two.
I'm moving more and more in that direction. Like I now keep this stack of note cards. This is like a very small thing, but I was thinking about it yesterday. I keep a stack of note cards on my desk here now, and I realize I'm taking all kinds of notes on note cards now, whereas I think I used to write notes and write directly into the computer or send myself emails. I still do all of that, but I swear I am moving. There's something going on with me where I swear I'm moving further and further away from tech as... And by the way, I want to say a Claude agent. When you first said that, I thought you were making some sort of Dr. Claude joke from Inspector Gadget. Of course, you're talking CLAUD and an AI agent.
Claude was the evil organization, right?
I think it was.
Claw.
Dr. Claw was the guy who pet the cat, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I think the evil organization was named something else. But I actually kind of liked the Claude commercials during the Super Bowl.
Well, I did too. And you know what I learned about those, because I was on a flight and I was talking about them with the person next to me who I think worked in either advertising or something. And they said, oh, yeah, well, those were made by Mike Mills. And Mike Mills,
really? That makes sense.
Is this director, this very interesting director, who there's an entire song by the band Air called Mike Mills. That's how, when you get to the level where Air is writing a song about you, you are pretty good at whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it makes total sense that there's that kind of dreamy, for some reason, I kind of call it almost like a Blade Runner, but not so much in the dystopian sense, but it's got that propulsive Blade Runner-y music that I love so much, that Time Cop 1983 kind of a vibe. And yeah, I do like those commercials a lot.
The reason I liked them, though, was because they were making fun of AI until the point was, well, our AI is better than that. But it is. But I mean, essentially, it's a commercial based on, like, we're talking about, there were two of them.
No, we're talking about different
aired.
commercials. I'm really sorry. I've confused us right here at the top of the show. You mean the one where the guy's trying to learn to do a chin-up?
That was the second one, and the first one aired like literally in the break before.
Okay, we are talking about the same commercials,
yeah.
But I clearly missed the entire point. You're saying it's making fun of AI?
Well, it's making fun of. At first, you think it's making fun of AI, then you realize they're just making fun of their competitors' AI and saying that they're going to be better. But basically, what you have is human beings talking to another human being in each case, and you don't realize as the viewer at first that one of the human beings is a stand-in for AI. And in the first one,
we're talking about different commercials.
No, the chin-up one is one of them.
Well, there's a guy, he's on like a hill in L.A. It's just him and propulsive music and then a bunch of text where he wants to learn how to do a chin-up, and it's just giving him a routine, a way to get to it, and the camera's just 360ing around him.
That it's weird that there are two AI chin-up commercials, but there's another one. So there are two commercials. Let me describe these to you from the beginning. So the first one doesn't have anything to do with exercise, but it really caught our attention. There's a man, I don't know, in his 30s or something, and he at first you think he's in a psychiatrist's office or a therapist's office, but you sort of realize later it's his home, but it's modeled sort of so that it would be confusing. And he's talking to a woman who seems like a therapist, but after he asks his question, which is about, I think, how to maybe break some barriers with his mom in their relationship, her head sort of like she pauses just for an extra second and then sort of turns on. It's a very, very subtle acting performance, and you realize she's acting like AI, and she says, great question. And then she starts discussing some ways he could get over this barrier with his mom, and then she starts saying, and if you don't achieve that, you can check out goldencougars.com. And she starts selling him this ad for, like, some sort of, some Golden Cougars commercial where he could possibly find an older lady of his dreams. And the whole point is Claude is saying, listen, advertising like this is coming to AI, but we will never have it. And then there's another one that aired later in the Super Bowl, which is very similar, which is a kid, I mean, I'm like my dad, I call everybody a kid now, but there's some young man and he's like doing pull-ups somewhere or doing some sort of exercise outside. And then he says, is there a better way to get buff fast or something, build muscle mass fast or something? And same deal, he turns to this very athletic man who is standing next to him, and then the man just pauses for a split second and says, yes, and starts giving him some advice on working out, but then slips into some sort of a, protein powder ad or
like
something.
Slop, basically.
Yeah, and basically it's like, oh, this is what advertising is going to look like. And the thing is, the ads are just really, really done well. And there's this small moment where the human's head just sort of like, and then they always say, great question, in that fake AI way that they always begin their answers. And anyway, both of those caught my eye, which is why I thought you were talking about the pull-up AI commercial.
So oftentimes I'm confused and wrong on the show, and it's usually my fault. In this particular case, I'm blaming the fact that they were running. There are 2 AI commercials about a guy trying to learn how to do a pull-up.
During the Super Bowl, I didn't see this other one.
I don't know if this was in the Super Bowl, but this is ChatGPT. It's called Pull Up.
Oh yeah,
ChatGPT. You probably know. We've
talked about the campaign before with the scrolling letters. I know this campaign. Yeah.
And so anyway, that's when you said the thing about Claude. In my mind, I switched it to being this ChatGPT pull-up commercial, which is the one that I'm obsessed with. That is made by the guy Mike Mills, and that is a kind of a more of a sort of artsy dream state thing. Although what you're saying about the Claude ads is funny because it very much mirrors what the Claude co-founder, this guy named Jack Wilson, I think is his name, was saying today to Ezra Klein about the fact that, like, we are in this era now of AI where he said it's like the early internet in that, not that the internet is exactly like not full of spam and bugs now, but there was a period of time where it was even harder to figure out facts from fertilizer, and you might add something to your search bar that was literally just like something that was then spamming your computer. You know what I mean? Like there was like those fake search bars that would take over your computer. He was saying specifically that that's the issue. One of the big issues with AI right now is it is totally the Wild West, and there's a bunch of crap out there that is confusing and advertorial and misleading and all of that. So,
and just wrong. I mean, does it have a better than 50% accuracy rate at this point? I mean, my interaction with AI, any kind of AI, tool, with the exception of some things on like, tools that are built into Photoshop or whatever, but like I'm looking for information, is so limited that and probably self-selecting so that like I only remember the stuff that goes so wrong. But like I just, from my rank, my baseball fantasy draft last year to people were sending in some other things too, like some phrase that we sometimes use on the show, or we play a drop on the show, and if you ask the computers about it now, it says that it's some phrase that originated with TBTL, and I guess that could be good for us. But it's like, it just seems like it's just wrong all the time. I mean, that seems like a big problem with it. At least the original internet was sort of like, what you were getting was you could, read the newspaper or get people's opinions, not just like be fed misinformation, just not even misinformation like a campaign, just mistaken information.
Too bad they're late.
TBTL.
That was something that came up when we were searching for something that was
what was it? Was it the Blurs days?
It was something about TBTL birthdays or something we were trying to find out, and it just completely hallucinated that there's something called a "too bad they're late" card.
Right.
That was its way of trying to combine the idea of the letters TBTL and like a birthday message of some kind.
I picture somebody shrugging. Too bad they're late. That's the cover of the card.
Speaking of misinformation, Andrew, you saw that I had a strong reaction to your choice of introductory tape today, which is, of course, that's Christopher Guest playing Harlan Pepper, I believe. Mm-hmm. In that's from
Show.
That's Best in Show, right? Because he's raising those those hound dogs or whatever. But we love that tape where he's talking about naming nuts and that how he would drive his mom crazy naming nuts. Well, I thought it was a really nice little piece of what do you call this when? Well, yes, but the Encyclopedia Britannica put out a TikTok post that basically points out that everything Harlan Pepper is naming except hazelnuts, everything else is not a nut in that list. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica TikTok feed. In this grouping, and they've, of course, included the clip that we started with of Christopher Guest naming nuts. They said, in this grouping, hazelnuts are the only true nuts. Peanuts are legumes, and cashews and macadamia nuts are seeds. And I was like, this is very smart by Encyclopedia Britannica.
Nuts, where did pine nuts?
They didn't mention pine nuts.
They didn't mention it, okay.
In this grouping. Now, maybe they've edited it cleverly. Maybe they wanted to make the point. I could even, TikTok audio is dicey at best, but let's see if it'll play this because.
So I'd go to sleep. She'd hear me in the other room, and she would just start yelling. I'd say peanut, hazelnut, cashew nut, macadamia nut. That was the one that would send her into going crazy. She said, "You stop naming nuts."
So they probably cut around to pine nuts or whatever because maybe that didn't support their case. But I just thought this was whoever is over there at Britannica trying to figure out. I mean, you want to talk about I did a TV story about Encyclopedia Britannica once years ago, but you want to talk about working in the horse and buggy department as Ford Model A's are spinning past you, to be the person that's trying to keep Encyclopedia Britannica somehow relevant. And I don't say this to be critical of them. It's just that we now live in a world where information is so available and so cheap. And back when somebody would come to your door and try to sell your family a lifetime of information by way of these Britannica encyclopedia books,
which we had, and we had to treat so carefully because they were so expensive.
It was like a family heirloom. It was like this was going to be passed down from generation to generation.
I feel like for some reason I'm both foggy on a Monday morning, but for some reason compelled to keep going.
I'm coked up for both of us.
Good,
okay.
Going big with some sort of statement about the internet and information. But you were mentioning this interview with the Claude CEO or founder or whatever it was, and how kind of referencing back to the early days of the internet and kind of having some risk around the wild westiness of it. It is funny, I think, that I feel like early on, tell me if you think I'm wrong about this, but early on, Wikipedia was almost the thing you would point to as why the internet shouldn't be trusted. We used to have actual bounded encyclopedias that had been vetted and they were real information. And then it was and the internet, you just have a bunch of people writing their own encyclopedia. You can write anything. But now Wikipedia has basically become one of the most trustworthy. And I'm always a sucker for throwing a little change their way when they're doing fundraisers.
Giving Jimmy a little taste, old Jimmy.
I think you've done the same thing. It's become such a fundamentally important part of the internet that has proven itself to be self-correcting and self-checking.
Wikipedia is the Minnesota Police Department, as is ICE, is everything else on the internet. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of slop to suddenly be well, I read it in the one trusted site on the internet, Wikipedia.
Yeah, that anybody
only
can
by
edit.
the awfulness of everything else has Wikipedia emerged as something that we now go, oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Wikipedia. I'm sorry we doubted you for all those years.
And it is, and the model, I mean, if you take a moment to think about it, it is astounding that they were right. They said, no, we will have checks and balances and editors who really care. And if you write, you can go in there. Well, I couldn't because I'm too dumb to know how to edit Wikipedia articles.
Hey,
We've
Claude,
tried.
How do I edit my own Wikipedia page?
How do I create my own Wikipedia page? Remember somebody, was it Cheryl? Remember Cheryl and Corvallis made one for me and they took it down because I wasn't famous enough?
That's crazy.
TBTL has one and it links to you, but then my name is not a hyperlink anymore.
That is just absolutely wild to me that of all the I don't know what you want to call it, this sort of checks and balances and like, I don't know if you'd call it security, but like, what is in it for Wikipedia of repeatedly denying your existence? It's just the strangest thing for them to get hung up on.
It is.
And considering you'll occasionally give them $5. When they, you know what I mean?
To play, yeah.
Well,
maybe that was
me,
before I donated.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's like I donate to Wikipedia when the appeal for money becomes 90% of the Wikipedia page. You know how I feel like that banner just gets bigger
and bigger,
and bigger and bigger. And then one day I'm like, God damn it, I'll give you $5 if you just Will that reduce this tumor of begging me to, you know, again, we are a show that in a way sort of begs for money, or at least reminds folks that we need their donations. So I got to tread lightly here. But there is this weird thing where eventually when it gets loud enough on the screen, I will kick them a few bucks. Like, here you go, guys. You're doing God's work. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And also, I will still take that banner over. I mean, now this just gets into old man yelling at cloud of today's technology. But like, I understand that like a lot of good news sites are behind paywalls for a reason. But then, you know, if you hit that paywall, then you're like scrambling around for some other source on it. And you find yourself on these mobile news sites that are like a parody. Like if you were doing a Tim and Eric sketch about pop-ups.
It's called the internet.
It's called the internet. It's on these
It's a fun way to, what do they say?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I love the way that it's on discs, so he doesn't have to worry about security. But like, I mean, you must come across this too. It is astounding to the point where like there will be like literally two lines. Like I'm not exaggerating. Literally, there will be a window where 2 lines of text can get through, like a banner ad at the top, a pop-up on the side, some sort of a sign-up for our newsletter at the bottom, and you are just like scrolling so you can read like 2 lines at a time like you're at a doctor's office.
I have which I could share with you, I do have a tried and true little web portal that I can use when I hit a paywall that I'm not paying for. And I pay for a lot of them. I pay for the New York Times. I pay for the Seattle Times. I pay for the Oregonian. I pay for, up here, I pay for both of my local papers, the Daily News and the Columbian. So I feel like I am contributing to journalism, I think, as much as reasonably can be expected. So when I hit an article that I don't have the, account for, this is just me, just obviously justifying the fact that I'm stealing content. But I do have a pretty useful and pretty reliable way around that if you ever want me to share that information with you.
That sounds good. I had I was going to say, and I've said this before on the show.
I owe you for the Roku you sent me.
Oh, yeah, I know. And you it looks like you have some beef with Roku we got to get into, too. But I know I've said this a million times on the show, but I feel like it's more true today than ever now that we all, or not all, but now that a lot of us are using like, digital little purses on our phone. I can't remember what you call the iPhone, like Apple Pay, right?
Yeah,
and I have Android Pay or whatever it's called. I don't know. And like all the ways, like it's so easy to like one-click shop now, as opposed to, back in the day, you get out your credit card. I cannot believe that a newspaper has not tried more of you can't read this article right now unless you give us $3 or $2. Like I would be handing over so much money just to read one article, but I'm not going to subscribe. Like I just want to read this one thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Right.
You're not, and it's such a bad model that it says, okay, you can read this if you sign up for 1 free month and then pay for the rest of the year. It's like, but I just want this thing now, and I just feel like it's so seamless now. If I ran a newspaper, I would just say, yeah, a la carte. Want to buy this article? It'll be much cheaper if you sign up for a month or a year. So, I encourage you to do that. But if you just want this one article, 50 cents, again, even a few bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the trick there would be to, I guess, integrate it with, again, whatever the Apple Pay or Shopify or so that I don't have to re-input all my information. Because, if I could just click on that. The other thing, too, and this might be a negative, and now I'm just talking like one of them Silicon Valley types that I aspire to be after listening to one episode of the Ezra Klein Show. But what you could also find out then is, what was your best-selling article last year?
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Point.
I mean, I guess they already digitally. You can already tell what's getting clicked on. So I guess it's not nearly the information black hole that it used to be when you printed a newspaper and sent it, and mailed it out or delivered it to folks, and yet there was something that was kind of probably kind of great about that because there was probably a lot of journalism that was like important journalism that was good that we had it in the newspaper, and we had it in the newspaper because we couldn't tell if that's why people were buying the newspaper.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
And I mean, that's actually a really good point too. Like, I used to, on days that I wanted to read the New York Times, I would go and buy a New York Times. You didn't have to subscribe for a year, and we just don't have that anymore. We do not have the digital equivalent of that, right? Like, well, I just want to buy the Seattle Times for the day and read it.
Speaking of the New York Times, so I subscribed to it, and oddly enough, I have a digital subscription, and now I'm on all of the, you and Hayes twisted my arm, and so I'm at the like Cadillac level. Like I think I've got Addie on my account, I got Becca on my account. I'm getting to all the cooking and the athletic, but weirdly, it was cheaper if I took physical delivery of the paper, which is really surprising to me. That I guess maybe they want to get you in the. I mean, I would think of anything the New York Times would want to get you out of the habit of trying to get the physical newspaper.
Is it the weekend one? Because I had a plan like that for a while.
Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was cheaper for me to get the digital package that I have if I agreed to take delivery of the paper, which I was like, okay. But here's the thing: I live in the hinterlands, and so my Sunday New York Times would arrive at about Wednesday in my mailbox.
For real? It was coming days later?
No, it was being mailed to me. Like there's nobody driving a New York Times delivery route out here where I live. And so what I realized was, I should just send this to Becca's house because she lives in urban America in Portland, in war-torn Portland on the very same street as ICE. And so she now that gets the paper. And yesterday morning, so I stayed over on Saturday night.
You give her the key. She goes down to the box. She gets the New York Times, but you can't open it until her key unlocks the newspaper for you.
Yeah, we call it the old 50 Shades of Grey lady. Did that work?
Yeah, 50.
Trying to
50. I would just say 50 Shades of
joke, but about the New York Times.
You know what? I'm writing it down. 50 Shades of Grey Lady. Many people have pointed out that one of the biggest sins of TBTL in recent history is that I didn't name whatever episode you came up with. Boxes, delivery, stamps, mail was not the name of the show. So we will rectify that as best we can.
We're working on that
today
right now, by the way, various channels.
50 Shades of the Grey Lady. Okay, go ahead.
But no, it was like a throwback Sunday morning to, I don't know, my life maybe 10 years ago, because we got the New York Times, the physical New York Times on Sunday morning, took Gigi for a little walk, and then came back and had the coffee and divided up the New York Times.
Yep.
Sat on the couch, was reading it for about 5 minutes before I got back on my phone. But there was a moment, there was 5 minutes in there, Andrew, that was just like, I was like, holy shit, this is what life used to feel like. It was really nice, actually.
Yeah, that I went through that phase, too. I feel like living in New Hampshire but also in Boston. I used to love wandering around Boston with the New York Times, like the weekend paper, whether it was a Saturday or the ginormous Sunday one. That just gets like messier and messier as the day goes on. But yeah.
Well, and there's a whole strategy, I think, or there's a whole system, which is, for me, it was like I would read the Sunday Styles. I always liked that section because it had lots of like kind of serious but not too serious stories in it, trend pieces and, the ethicist or whatever. It was kind of like the fun part of the paper. Then I would read as much of the main cover as I could stand. Of course, on Sunday it was U.S. declares war on everywhere.
Right.
And then I would save the magazine because the magazine felt like it was durable. Like the magazine could hang around. It had a longer shelf life in my
glossy,
mind. It's glossy. And that's, by the way, still in there. It's still glossy. Still, happening. I think that was maybe part of what I was just like loving about it was mostly unchanged from the last time that I was reading a New York Times Sunday edition. And there was something, I needed that on Sunday. I really need, with everything that's going on in the world, I needed one thing to feel like it used to feel, and that was the New York Times.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, so I'm not telling you to cancel it, but you asked, like, what, how is this a better deal for them? It's a better deal for them because eventually this promo is going to run out, and then they're going to, have you on this higher tier that is the weekend plan, so just keep an eye out for that.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, man. Clear the airport whatever you want to call it,
security,
get around.
Yeah.
I'm canceling that bad boy completely because here's what I realized. I use Clear. I use it a lot now, but never. There's probably been 1 or 2 times that I've gotten to the airport and I've been like, OMG, even the TSA pre-check line is crazy. I'm going to miss my flight. Oh, thank God there's Clear. Because, by the way, they don't have Clear at every airport. And so a lot of things have to fall into place for it to actually do the thing that I think of it as being its value, its utility, which is missing one flight costs me as much as an entire year of subscribing to Clear or whatever. But here's the thing. You can sign up for Clear standing right there at the little kiosk. Like, if you don't have it, you can sign up for it in 3 seconds. And in fact, because I've had an account, I'm sure it's even faster. I'm sure they'll just like recharge my card or whatever. So there's no reason for me to spend a yearly subscription on this thing without really knowing if it's ever going to actually come in like handy. I'm using it because I'm paying for it, if that makes sense. Like, there's 8 people in line at TSA pre-check, which does not mean I'm going to miss my flight. It means I'm going to wait for 7 minutes. Or I go through Clear, which I do because I'm like, well, I'm paying through the nose for this. I'm going to cut ahead of those people in that line. That's the main way that I'm using it right now, out of a sense of like, I got to use this because I'm paying for it. So I'm canceling it. And then if it ever is the case that I'm going to literally miss my flight, I'll just buy it then. But so I went on to cancel.
How quick is that transaction?
Very quick. And I know because when we were flying to Europe last summer, it was one of those scenarios where the lines were really crazy. And Becca had an account, like a trial account, which then was still on her account, so she couldn't sign up for a new trial account. Somehow I got tricked into adding her onto my account, standing there, which cost me $125 for a year. Back to your thing of like a la carte. Why couldn't I just pay $5 to get her through?
Well, yeah.
It was like, now she's on my Framily plan. That was the other thing. I saw this Clear. I'll give them credit on one thing. They sent me an email today that was like, hey, we're renewing your Framily plan in like at the end of March. Just a heads up, which I'm very glad they did because, of course, I don't know when this thing's renewing. And I was like, dag, it's $329 a year? What am I, a dazzling donor to Clear? And so I went on there and I was like, why is it so expensive? I was like, oh, because they're also trying to re-Framily me with Becca. And I was peace and love. Listen, I love the gal. I love the gal. But I'm not Framilying her on Clear indefinitely. This was one thing so we could get on our flight to Europe, which happened to be a 1-year membership. But like, so then I went in and I was like, and this is when I had the thought, like, how many times in the last 12 months did this thing actually mean the difference between me missing my flight or not? Or was it just something that maybe sped up my trip through the security by a few minutes? And it was really door number 2. So I went to cancel it, said cancel plan, and they went on, please don't cancel. How about 3 free months? We won't even talk to you for like, we're moving your renewal date by 3 months. And so I did say yes to that.
They said, look into your heart. Look into your heart. I just rewatched.
Is that a Dan Hedaya?
No, it's a John Turturro from Miller's Crossing.
Oh,
it wasn't a good one, but it lives in my head. No, you know what?
Now that I know that, I can hear it. And it's also, I haven't seen Miller's Crossing, but I bet you I could name the scene. Are they in the woods and is he on his knees?
Yeah. You haven't seen Miller's Crossing. It's an excellent
I know.
movie.
It's a blind spot for me. I know it's like OG Coen brothers.
It's really good. You know, I have we don't have to get into all this. I loved that movie back in the day, but that was also when I loved everything that the Coen brothers did. Like, I just was undiscerning about it. And I still love the Coen brothers, but you know, there are some you go back and you watch and you're like, okay, I understand why I liked Hudsucker Proxy, but it doesn't quite stand up the way I thought it did back when I was in, college.
I don't think I even knew that was Coen brothers.
The Hudsucker Proxy?
I loved that movie.
I know, I did too.
Loved it. I have not rewatched it.
But anyway,
Paul Newman, hula hoops, and pneumatic tubes. Those are the things I remember about the Hudsucker Proxy.
And who's the fast talking? It's Three named actress who I can never remember her name, but it's three names, and she played like that 1940s fast talking Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah, she was like a reporter who always talked like this in this arch way, which of course I loved at the time, but also it is such a big, broad. The whole movie is so broad. Having said that, Miller's Crossing used to absolutely love it. There was one time, I'm going to say in the past, I don't know, 10 years or something, where I went back to Miller's Crossing, and I don't know why, but I was like, I don't know if this holds up. Like, I didn't love it as much as I did. And then I rewatched it a couple of weekends ago. It's so good. It is so good.
I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, of course.
I've got some stuff to get through this week.
Yeah, take that with a grain of salt. I don't want to oversell it, and I know that you and I don't have the exact same taste in movies, but I really enjoyed watching it for like the 5th time and sort of understanding the plot a little bit better.
You know, Andrew, maybe I can stream it on my new Roku.
Yeah, so what's up with that? So I sent you a little Roku device.
Yes, which thank you for that, by the way. That was really thoughtful. Not to go into the weeds on this whole, baseball broadcast situation, but basically, like, somehow my smart television, how smart is that?
Equals
I'm not able to put the Major League Baseball app. I'm not able to install it or find it on my TV. It's not native to a Vizio.
That is
which is
infuriating.
insane.
Yeah, because I can put it on my TV, which I guarantee you costs probably a third of yours. Yeah.
But last year, when they were on the other thing, you couldn't get that on your Hisense, and so you had to get the Roku, right?
The stupid Root Sports network app that they created for exactly one season. I had to go out and buy a Roku to make it work because that wouldn't be native on my TV. So
we're just passing this Roku back and forth.
Right,
you and I.
Exactly.
So thank you for saying that to me.
I got a little sore on my lip after
like Spinal Tap. After a little trial and error, I was so embarrassed about that text that I sent you. By the way, I was absolutely sober while sending you those messages.
Oh, no, not at all. You know what? Do you want to set this up a little bit? Because
such a digital non-native.
I want to say that my first response to you, I was literally cleaning up a bunch of water that we had a little bit of a plumbing. It wasn't a big deal, but a small little plumbing snafu. So when I had sent you the Roku and I texted you a little video I made of how to set it up, and you texted
I didn't even
me
see the video. That was so thoughtful of you.
Oh yeah, I sent it to you.
I didn't even realize there was a
video
associated until you said, "Oh, just check out the video."
It was a video, but I had texted it to you like a week ago when I dropped it in the mail or something. But I wanted to show you how to plug it in the back of your TV. So you texted me, and I'm literally on my hands and knees with soapy water on the ground, and I was like, "Watch the video." And I honestly, later on, I looked at it, and I did not mean to strike that tone at all. I was no, it's all explained in the video.
How thoughtful of you to include a video. Also, let's slightly patronizing, but mostly thoughtful.
Patronizing,
no, really nice. That's super
it
sweet of you. And then I didn't even. I missed the memo on that you had done a video for me, which again, that's actually really, really thoughtful. So I get back yesterday from my Becca hangout and New York Times sesh, and you'd have mailed me this a few days ago, but I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get this Roku situation working. And I'm such a moron because you included everything and very nicely in a little bag, and it had, of course, the Roku, the HDMI cable that plugs into the television, and then the power for the Roku. And somehow in my mind, I assumed it was getting its power through the HDMI cable, which is not what those cables do. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what HDM or I stand for.
Me too.
But none of them stand for power. And so I plug this whole thing in, and then I'm going to like input number 4 on my smart TV, and it's not showing the Roku. And I was like, you know me, Andrew, my first thought was like, well, it's probably broken. Let me just go on Amazon and buy another one. And then I was like, stop, don't do that. Like, just give this a second. And then I sent you a video going, hey, how do I do this? I have it plugged in. This is like when I'm doing a home improvement project and I need help from my dad. I'll be like videotaping. How do I do this compression miter cut on this piece of trim or whatever? So I send you a video of me showing you that I've plugged the Roku into HDMI port number 4 on my television, and yet I'm not getting anything. I hit send on the video, and 1 second after hitting send, I was like, oh, you moron. It needs power. The HDMI cable is not giving it power. But I had already sent you the video. So then I was like...
so you already had the answer before I responded.
Yes, but I had already inconvenienced you after you were nice enough to send me the Roku, make me a video, and you're dealing with a situation at your house that I wasn't aware of. I was so chagrined about that entire interaction.
You know me, I like helping with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like I love troubleshooting. By the way, I'm gonna play. This is where I'm an idiot. Like I was partially happy that you didn't watch the video because it's like I don't do these a lot. Like I don't make like little videos of myself, and I'm holding my phone in one hand and then trying to plug in the Roku using like not just the HDMI cord, but also like the USB. And it was like literally like the parody of trying to plug in a USB where it's like the wrong way. Oh no, it was the right way. Whatever. Yeah.
I have a 0% success rate with trying to plug an HDMI cable in the right orientation the first time.
But then the saddest thing about this video, which now I was glad you didn't watch it because I didn't want you to hear it, but now I'll play it for you and all of the listeners. Let's see, it's not too long. We don't have to play the whole thing. But what I hate about this, and this is one thing I realize about me, and I don't think this is an age thing. I think this is a physical shape thing, is like I am huffing and puffing all the time now. Listen to this video. You would think that like I was doing this video while jogging.
Can I ask you a question quickly? Were you using some kind of like a Bluetooth headphone talking to your phone?
No,
okay,
I just had my phone in my hand.
A lot.
So what happened is, and it's very awkward because I'm holding the phone with my right hand while, filming my left hand, which has the Roku device, but then I'm also trying to plug things in, but I'm only using one hand. And so like I'm sure that the camera gets closer to my face at times, changing the audio here. All right, this is the Roku device here. It's kind of the kind that's built to set on a table, which I know is not an option for you, but that's okay. It's super, super light. You can get yourself some double stick tape if you need and stick it to the back of your television, or it's so light that on my TV, the cables themselves kind of just keep it suspended. I was proud of knowing that you did not want anything setting on your table. Like the device is sort of made to set on something, but it's so small that the cables can prop it up. So they do have other kinds that are just sticks, but that stick also needs power. By the way, you'll notice there are two things on the back. The HDMI is for the signal of the TV. That's on the left. On the right is one of those mini USBs, which I'm including with this. I know you don't want more cables plugged into a wall, but the thing is, if you have, and I'm sure you do, an extra USB opening, not HDMI like that, but USB like that, it will provide power. That was a tip that I learned from a listener or several listeners, because when I first got one of these
USB out of the TV itself.
Yeah, because I do
have one of those, and I did consider that at one point. Like, would this actually power it?
Oh, so you don't have it plugged into the TV. It'll get rid of an extra cable for you. You can use the power that is coming from the USB of the TV. Great little hack that some listeners told me about, as opposed to having to plug it into like a phone charger in a wall or something like that.
Yeah, I have this whole, because my dad and I framed out and built that wall behind it. So there's a whole like inset power plug-in thing that's behind the TV, which is very convenient. And yes, it's all about cable management. I would like it if when you walked into my house, it was just a TV with nothing connected to it and a single folding chair. That'd be the platonic ideal of cable management. That'd be the whole house. You sit in the chair and you look at the television. You can't see any cables. Now imagine, for the listeners, since we're just doing this now, imagine you are Andrew Walsh and you make that really helpful video that really, like, along with mailing me this thing, including all of the accessories, and you make a really helpful video of like, hey, here's how you do this. Cut to Sunday afternoon, and your friend Luke just sends you this video, and I'll play this now. Hey there. So thank you so much for sending all of that stuff, including the Roku. I have it plugged in here. Okay. This is my HDMI number 4 port.
That's a flex.
Got the Roku over here. We have 4 HDMI.
I only have 3.
But then when I'm going to the input on my computer, on my TV. Of course, I hit the wrong button, which then takes it into Fandango.
I literally didn't watch this far in. The second I saw the video, I knew what the problem was.
Stop it, Fandango. No, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, I did hear that. When
I go to HDMI 4, it just tells me that it can't find it. And the same thing has happened on HDMI 3. And I'm wondering, am I missing a step? It doesn't seem like there's an on button on the Roku device. Anyway, I just can't believe that, like, I had one job, which is watch the video, which would have helpfully told me how to do it. I didn't watch the video, and then I made a video, sent it to you about, what do I do, Dad? What am I doing wrong here? So, but anyway, all's well that ends well. Here's the problem, though. So it's working great for my Mariners' needs. The problem is, like everything in the world, Andrew, Roku wants to be my one-stop streaming shop. There's no just like plugging in this little dongle and then getting my Mariners on there. It's now like Roku is hunting me down like a dog to become the place where all of my streaming happens. You know what I mean? Like I had to log into it. It had to go. I apparently have had a Roku before, so it went in and found my old account. It took a good 10 minutes of like re-downloading or uploading or whatever every streaming service that it somehow. By the way, this is all available on my television, right? I don't need to watch Apple TV through Roku.
Yeah.
Like, it's on my television, but Roku wants to get me into their world and then keep me there. And so it's like, and it's asking me so many questions about my preferences and what kind of shows do I like, and I'm just like skipping through screen after screen. Then finally I get it up and running enough that I can get to the MLB app and start watching the Mariners. And then I look in my inbox or something, and I've got like 11,000 emails from Roku about like, welcome back to Roku, and here's a promotion, and let's do this. And I just want to say to them, you, Roku, have only one job in my life, and that is allow me to watch the Seattle Mariners. I don't want any other crap from you. I don't want you trying to offer me a free something or other, which will give me. There's literally some kind of a streaming thing on Roku called like Huber TV or it was like literally a streaming service that sounded like it was made up by 30 Rock or something, like Acorn TV. It was like that. Yeah, they're just like streaming things on the Roku that like I've literally never heard of, and I don't want any part of. And I don't want to have to keep telling Roku to leave me alone. I wish I could prune back every aspiration from the Roku other than my Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience. I mean, maybe I don't remember the setup, but I just did this a year ago because I was basically doing the same thing, and I just didn't get all that. I don't know. I just downloaded the MLB app, and then that's all. And then I only went to that HDMI when I wanted to watch baseball, and I had. And you know what I did? Maybe
it's because I had a Roku account before, so it's.
Well, I did too for our upstairs TV. I don't know, but it didn't. I guess maybe I just ignored all of that. And what I did was I just put my 2 baseball apps on the Roku, so I knew if I was watching baseball, I'd go to MLB or the Root, and that was on the Roku. And I didn't turn it on for anything else, but. This gets into something I want to talk to you about, although, good Lord, it's going to be dry as hell. But speaking of watching the Mariners and MLB, so like, where are you in this process? Because I was just looking at it the other day. The way they've changed everything once again because after creating the Root Sports app, they then canceled the entire network and fired almost everybody.
Yes.
And so now us Mariners fans have to find a new way to watch baseball because, of course, you can't just turn on the TV and watch it over the air, even though our tax dollars pay for that stadium. So now the only way we'll be able to watch Mariners games is first by getting, well, I guess you can get MLB TV, which you're paying for, which is kind of expensive. I will eventually get it for free through my T-Mobile, but then you have to buy an add-on for that to watch your local Mariners games. Because when you buy MLB TV, you're allowed to watch everything except for the games that are
Corn Cob?
In market for you, right? Which is just like so insulting. So have you already locked in your Mariners subscription?
I don't even know. Listen, what happened yesterday was I got into the Roku. By the way, I'd also like to point out that the Roku, like, what do you call it? Artwork.
Interface? Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's so outdated.
The scrolling scenes that go by.
City,
yeah, I love it so much. I find it
looks
comforting.
Like some Thomas Kincaid shit.
I know.
Painter of Light.
Oh, I love it because it'll change every now and then. But like sometimes at the Eagles or something, they'll be in between movies and that thing will just come on or whatever. I don't. Maybe it is because it's so childish. I find it so comforting. I find it so comforting.
I could see that. You know what? Yeah. I could see it. Maybe I should think about it from that from that perspective because, and also Becca has that on her TV. It's what her TV defaults to for some reason. And like, I just think it's hilarious that they have not, that some like whiz bang design agency hasn't come in and like redone, because it really feels like something from like, 2003 or something.
And did you notice that they're all little Easter eggs about movies?
Oh, I didn't.
So, like, there will be, it's like this cross-section. It reminds me of the types of things I would draw as a kid. It's like a cross-section of a city with little vignettes going on here and there.
Well, that's actually kind of
cool. But if you look
I
closely, like, there was, like, because it's a cross-section, there will be an area with water, like, underneath the city or something. And because I'm just trying to think of something that when somebody pointed this out to me, like, years ago, it was like, oh, that little guy who's swimming down there, that's supposed to be from... I don't know what's the upside down boat movie, the Poseidon Adventure,
the Poseidon Adventure,
whatever. Like there's little things like that, little cartoons that are supposed to be nods to movies, which I
actually that is kind of fun. I like that Easter egg thing, and I guess if I find myself looking at it more, I will. That would be kind of a fun thing. I just think it's so funny because everything is, so branded and so sort of designed to within an inch of its life now. If a company is even moderately successful, particularly in the media space, it's like I feel like there's just so many eyes on like what happens when you log on to Netflix is not in any way an under-analyzed sort of event.
Yes,
in terms of the visuals, what you see first, and and then it seems like Mrs. Claus made the Roku, like background screen, like an apple-cheeked, really nice 70-year-old woman made it or something.
Yeah,
not how things normally look.
Of course, there are aficionados. I was like, if I type this in now, would you like to at least try? I will tell you this: of the letters in HDMI, which I just looked up, there are no words that you don't know.
Okay.
Would you like to just try?
Yes.
Okay.
So first,
go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead. I'm not going to give you any clues at first.
If I'm going to get one of them, I think it's going to be H. Because my guess is, does that stand for high?
It does. In fact, I was going to give you a little bit of a hint here. When you say HDMI, you might think, I don't know what those letters stand for. But then when you think of HD, you're like, oh, yeah, we see HD all over the place.
Yes. Okay, so now I've got two. Now I'm building on it. Thank you. I'm only going to get half a point for the second one because you kind of led me there, but it's high definition.
High definition.
HDM. Movie? No, because you can watch a lot. It's not just movies.
I feel like this is a word that was bandied around a bit when the internet was sort of new. And you and I were producing radio, but then people said you can't just do radio anymore.
No, media. Monotheism.
What kind of media? Media is half of the word. Is it one media or it's the opposite of mono? It's not mono media. Multimedia. You have high definition multimedia.
Okay, I got 0 points on that, but okay, high definition.
Well, you got the media. You literally got half a point.
Input.
No, but you got the first three
interface?
letters, right? Yes, my boy. High definition multimedia interface. No, yeah, you said interface, right? You didn't say input. You said input maybe the first time. So here's my question for you. If you ask me tomorrow that same question, what are the chances I will remember
First,
it
I'm
going to
have you draw a clock. Then I'm going to ask you to recite HDMI. I mean, here's the thing, too, not to descend fully into just like cable talk, but can we give it up for HDMI apparently continuing as the industry standard for how with every other cable in our life, Andrew, constantly being thrown by the sort of wayside, and a new, USB-C, et cetera. Like there's almost always a better thing. And it seems like that one, they got it right enough that we're not being, that I know of anyway, handed a new thing that's supposed to be better. All they've done is make it have a gold outer casing, and it's more expensive at Best Buy, but it's still HDMI.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it still feels relatively new to me, but as you know, I'm pretty old. But remember when we used to have to plug in monitors for our computers? Because that's the nice thing. HDMI now, I think, is like, that's what I use if I need to link monitors together or just watch something on television or plug in a Roku, right? It's both like for televisions and computers. That's the way it should work. But you remember back in the day, if you were hooking up a monitor to a computer, you'd have that thing that with all the little pins and then the screen
two tiny screws
that you'd
on
have
the
to.
side.
That it also would be like finger screws.
The world's
and then I think they
smallest
replaced
screwdriver.
that with
get
some
out
sort
a
of round guy.
Optician's screwdrivers, like an eyeglass repair kit to like.
But then remember, they would change it to those plastic things they would put on the ends of the screws, so they were finger tight. Though that was a big development. But you're right; they've stuck around with the HDMI for a while.
Yeah, well, good on them.
We was hoping for some razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle.
That's right, man. Razzle dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle dazzle.
All right, let's thank some dazzling donors. These folks are donating a dazzling amount of dough to TBTL, and it is absolutely essential to the project. It's 100% listener-supported podcasting, and we can only do it because of folks like Christina Homer, who is in Portland, Oregon. Christina says, like Homer Simpson, or the great Greek poet.
In that order.
Yep. That's, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I would, not to be a Philistine, but I would say that the Homer Simpson character has added more to my life than the Iliad or the Odyssey, and I'm being serious about that.
Yeah, no, it's true. I didn't really like those poems. They're too epic for me.
They kind of, I don't think I've ever even read them in the original, Homeric. I think I had either abridged or like maybe even literally like a picture book that described what was going on. I'm not here to criticize the classics, but I'm just a Homer Simpson man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is.
I read
Christina
the Iliad.
Says,
I did not like the end.
Did you see the skywriting over the Willamette? Hi, friendos. This year I am reaching out to tens because I just moved up to Portland from San Francisco with my 10.5 Alex and our little 5, 6-month-old Ernest.
Oh,
aww,
congratulations. Hi, Ernest.
What up? In this time where biology research has been targeted by political powers, I count myself super lucky to have gotten my dream job to start the Homer Lab at Oregon Health and Sciences University. Wait, does Christine have a lab named after her?
What's going on? Is this a coincidence, or
is it named for Homer Simpson?
Well, it says to start the Homer Lab. Wouldn't it be amazing if Christine Homer did get to start this department, named it the Homer Lab, but after Homer Simpson, not herself?
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
And if that's not the case, is it too late, Christina? Well, this is crazy because also OHSU, that's where Becca and I spend many, many days and afternoons tootling around the OHSU general campus area because that's down in the South Waterfront where she lives. And so I wonder if I've even have I walked past the Homer Lab or the future home of the Homer Lab?
This is incredible. Congratulations,
This is really, really
Christina.
super impressive, Christina.
Yeah.
Okay. The Homer Lab at OHSU searching for a cure for the fungal infection valley fever. Valley fever causes pneumonia in a lot of people who are exposed to it and a fatal brain infection in 1% of people who are exposed. Well, what does that mean when there's that tilde? Is that less than 1%?
I always thought it meant
about 1%.
Yeah.
About. Okay. Our family is very new to Portland. We only know what we've heard Luke share about Portland on TBTL, and we'd love advice on settling in to the Portland area and to meet friendly tens in the area, which there are down there, Christina. There sure are. If you'd like to get in contact, I am Christina Homer on Blue Sky, and Christina, by the way, is spelled CHRISTINA, and then Homer is HOMER on Blue Sky. Or you can email me, Christina M. Homer, and the M is capitalized, at gmail.com. It's been super fun to listen to the pod from the PNW. Thanks to Andrew and Luke. What you do is so important. Power out, Christina. I'm struck by a few things here, Andrew. First of all, we have some flippin' smart listeners to this show.
Yeah.
I mean, holy moly. And then the other thing is, I can't imagine too many other shows where somebody who's clearly as wise as Christina Homer is would also feel comfortable putting their email out to the listeners, because that's the kind of good people that listen to this show. In other words, you know what I mean? Like Christina is confident that the only people that will be hearing us say her email, will also be kind of good, nice, helpful, non-weird people. That's our whole that's our demo around here.
I mean, I'm the weirdest one that you're going to end up
100% without
running
question.
into. I mean, with a bullet. And by the way, I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I have. There's more from Christina.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Andrew, please do not use this email address.
Oh, that's weird. That you know what? That feels like something John added, and it must be Dr. Homer, right? Like, if you're doing this type of research,
I mean,
it must be Dr. Homer.
Probably
which is what
so.
I'll
I mean,
say
this
going
is
forward, yeah.
If you get a lab at OHSU, you've got to be, I would imagine, a PhD.
The reason I bring that up is if you're going to email Christina, Dr. Homer, have some damn respect, you know?
Exactly. Christina, thank you. Welcome to Portland, to you and the fam. And I hope that maybe we'll see you out there in the on the OHSU campus sometime this summer when we're on a little summer walk. Hopefully we'll bump into each other. And thanks again. Maestro?
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle dazzle.
Well, look who it is. It's our pal Sarah Miranda of Seattle, Washington. It's our friend Sarah from the Magpie Mouse universe. Oh, man. Is it it's so nice down here today. Is it nice and sunny up in Seattle?
It's incredible. In fact, I was thinking about maybe going out and doing a little bit of yard work today. We'll see.
I was having exactly the same conversation in my mind today, Andrew, which was, do I break out the old lawnmower today? Because, well, a couple of things. It's a beautiful day, and that sounds like fun to me. Also, though, it is this time of year on my riding lawnmower, it's actually kind of hard because the ground is pretty damp still. It's pretty, squishy, and there are all these areas. I live on this hill, and in the middle of summer, it's sort of fine because the ground is dry and kind of hard, and so the lawnmower can get around and get up and down the hills. This time of year, there are so many little spots where when I go to turn, the wheel just wants to spin out in the grass, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the ROI, the amount of actually mowing the lawn that I can do versus just getting off a lawnmower and pushing it and getting it out of stuck positions is tough. It would be at this point almost purely performative on my part, or not performative, but it would be almost purely ritualistic. It would be me mowing the lawn because I want to smell mowed lawn and listen to the Mariners pitchers mowing down batters. That would be not even because it's going to really do a good job on the grass, because that's the other thing. The grass is wet, so it's hard to cut,
Well, yeah, and you also could, and it also, when the tires spin out like that, you could also kind of ruin your lawn a little bit. But mine, I feel like there are some parts, and of course, we're talking about very different jobs here. I have a postage stamp little property here, but there's part of it around the garage door, which is getting a lot of use these days as workers are kind of coming in and out. I should have mowed that one last time before the winter even began. The grass was too long. I don't mean a little long. I mean too long in that area. And now that it's growing again, it looks like I'm a hippie. It looks like I'm a hippie, and
long
I need
hair.
to go out there and I need
to
trim it. And so actually, I was really on the fence, and I think this might be pushing me over the fence.
Yeah, I think this conversation has now officially put me into, I'm just going to do it anyway. Plus, also, I bought because the thing that happens with my lawnmower also is that the tires are kind of going flat. If it's sitting there, it basically, if it's just kind of sitting there under a tarp under my deck, the tires are slow. One tire in particular is slowly losing air. And I've been pumping it up with
temperature, or do you think it actually has a slow leak?
Well, it's weird because these tires don't even have an inner tube in them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's literally it's just a rubber tire that's on the thing, but there's nothing inside it that's being inflated. You're inflating the tire itself.
Interesting.
And so I've got I have a bicycle pump, so I'm out there bicycle pumping it usually when I'm about to use them. But then I bought one of those. I bought a little handy dandy powered hand pump inflator that you can use on you. Keep it in your glove compartment in case your tire of your car goes flat. But I'm really excited to use it on the
because
lawnmower.
it's powered. It's
powered. It has power.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a little mini air compressor. And I'm really excited.
That's fun.
That's almost the most fun part. Hook up my mini air compressor to the lawnmower tire and go and just see it kind of
It'll be
but anyway,
his grass is still long, but there's balloons all over the place. What's this guy doing?
No, he's made no progress on the lawn, but he's using all his gadgets to great effect. Where I was really going with this weather talk was, this would be a perfect day. I don't know if people will hear this in time, but if you're in Seattle, this would be a perfect day to go walk around Pike Place Market and stop by Magpie Mouse Studios, because It's right there by all these amazing scenic viewpoints. That new kind of viewing observation area that looks out on the new aquarium and stuff. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful down there. And you can stop by Magpie Mouse. Sarah says, hey, it's Sarah from Magpie Mouse Studios. TBTL is one of the most important things in the world to me. It literally saved my small biz so I can be a business girl. Wow, Sarah, glad to hear that. We had just quit our jobs and went full-time in 2019. What could go wrong? And then the pandemic hit. Our business wasn't as diversified as it is now. We mostly relied on art fairs and markets. Those all started canceling, and the few gift shops we were in were closing. We had just done a wholesale show, and buyers were canceling their future orders. What a time. I posted a link to my Etsy shop and asked the Tens for help, and they did, and they still do. I figured if they give me money, I should give you some. I'm not on Facebook anymore. Thanks, hackers. But the only thing I miss is the community of the Stens. I've met some of the best people through this little podcart. Thank you for all you do, this beautiful space you've created, and the cure for global loneliness. Well, Sarah, thank you for so generously redirecting some of your, and again, the new, I'm sorry I keep going on about this, but the new location where Magpie Mouse is like, it's at a high walkability score before, and I don't want to say anything, Sarah, I'm not being critical. The previous location in Pike Place Market was a little bit of a trick to find it.
I spent a good part of an afternoon. It was like a children's book as I kept going around the market looking for it. But I did find it
I saw the
eventually.
greatest minds of my generation gone mad trying to find the original Magpie Mouse location. And now they're just right there on, and I can never remember the exact name of the street, but it's a storefront that's just on the street.
Yeah.
There, when you go kind of around the corner from where all the dried flowers are, and then you start to go down the hill a little bit, you'll run right into it.
Kind of isn't it kind of across the street from the staircase that leads to the parking garage?
Yes, it is.
Because I
Where
haven't.
Casala used to be, and also where KNKX is. It's across the street, but in that general area.
I haven't been to the new place yet, but I know exactly where it is because they're literal neighbors with my favorite hat shop in town. I got Genevieve some fancy berets. Genevieve's a real beret girl. I don't know if you know that about her. For a birthday a while back, and speaking of, this is
maybe those people can help you solve your Columbo mystery.
This is Genevieve's birthday week, by the way. We should talk a little bit about our upcoming escape room adventure that'll be happening this weekend. Maybe that can be weekend plans. But anyway, this hat shop is very interesting because it's run by a woman who's a very bold woman, I would say. I don't know how to describe. She's just got one of those like real, a lot of energy kind of people. Doesn't take, very nice, very helpful, but also doesn't take shit off of people, sort of like that kind of thing. And so I went in there a couple of times.
I feel like it's the only way you can make it in the beret game in 2026.
But I really need to go back because I want to visit Sarah and Magpie at that new location, which you said is really, really great. And I haven't been to the new studio yet. And also, no joke, I need a new hat, and I'm thinking about getting that kind that you used to call I can't remember. It comes up
a Jeff cap.
A Jeff cap, like kind of the kind that snaps in the middle, in the front middle. I'm thinking about getting one of those. Although that's more of a winter cap than a summer cap, so I don't know.
By the way,
I need to do something.
You're talking about Eclipse Hat Shop, right?
Oh, probably. Yeah, that
woman's millinery and men's haberdashery.
It's a really nice shop, by the way.
Yeah,
and
really cool.
I feel like I did a bad job of describing the proprietor. Like I am very much
a really good job.
I am very pro her, but she is just definitely she's a trip.
I'm also very intrigued. I just like seeing the word millinery because that was what my granddad Jack, he owned a millinery shop in Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
That's how I know that word. It was an absolute failure, drove him to alcoholism and then an early death. But for a brief window
we
of time,
wish for the best for the folks at Eclipse. And
things are going much better at Eclipse Hat Shop, I believe. From everything I can tell on the internet.
These are nice
Sarah,
hats.
thank you again, and everybody go check out Magpie Mouse.
Please.
And I'm sure, again, there's lots of online ways you can interact with their stuff as well. So Sarah,
and also wait,
you.
actually, Luke, I know you're wrapping up, but I actually have. I just realized I talked more about the hats next door than Magpie Mouse Studios themselves. Aside from the actual location, which is beautiful, so is the stuff that Sarah and the gang make there. So definitely check it out. And I know that they have. I'm quite sure that they have like workshops and stuff too, so you can kind of
absolutely
get involved.
They do.
So check that out. And sorry, Sarah, that I started talking about hats during your dazzling donor message.
We can look forward to the hat shop.
That's
sponsoring us next year.
They better,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh man, it's not from a female.
All right, we sort of ran out of time on McDonald's talk, but the good news is we already know what tomorrow's show is going to look like. It's going to be Andrew's Columbo Hat Mystery and Arch Deluxe Talk. So I mean, tomorrow's show is already ready to go. But in the meantime, do you have any emails or V-mails that are of interest?
Yes, I have a voicemail that I will play for you. Now, this voicemail, my apologies to the person who sent it, because I know that you sent this a long time ago, Jamie. I think it was probably pre-holidays, but I've been hanging on to it. I knew that we'd get to it once the weather turned nice. It has nothing to do with the weather. Do you remember, Luke, I'm going to put you on the spot, and there's no reason you should remember this, but the past few shows I've given you sort of a choose-your-own-adventure.
I totally remember this.
Okay, so one of
I can even tell you. Let's see if I can do this from memory.
What were the two that we did, and what was the third option?
High definition.
Yes.
Multimedia.
Interface.
Interdiction. It was one was about old food.
One was about old food.
We had a guy who was eating old-ass mac and cheese.
That's right.
One was about...
It was an explainer.
One was... What, the old food one was an explainer?
No, the one that you're trying to think of was an explainer. You had a question about something, and somebody explained it to us on Friday.
Yes. It was the origin of... It was why restaurateur and restaurant are different words. That was from Max,
that was
maybe?
from Max,
yep.
So those were the two you chose, and then there was one more on the list that we will play today. And I would... Do you remember how I described this one? I would be shocked if you did.
Give me a hint.
It's from Jamie.
Old food. Hold on. Okay. Old food, word origin, and then... Because I liked all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Old food, word origin, and then...
I can't think of a hint that doesn't just...
Give it away.
It's
Let me
about...
think what I know about our friend Jamie. Okay, I know our friend Jamie is a forest ecologist. I believe runner, a fan of and supporter of music, of live music, even at Sunstroke House Studios.
Aggressive as hell, gets into a lot of bar fights, punches people in the throat a lot.
You know what? I just remembered, I'm not taking it to Dream Court. I had the weirdest dream last night. Not that it was not even that I was.
Oh, we are taking it to Dream Court. Yes, we are.
It just, when you said that, you know how that happens with a dream? Like, you forget that you had it, and then someone says something that, like, it wasn't even that I was actively in a bar fight. What it was is I was watching security footage of a bar fight that had happened that I knew I had been a part of.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what the circumstances were, but what I remember was hoping that I looked cool on the security footage in the bar. I was waiting for the part where somebody was being out of pocket, right? So somebody was being, like, threatening and dangerous to people in this whatever facility, this location, this restaurant, whatever it was. I don't know if it was technically a bar or not. It's kind of foggy. But it was... Somehow there was altercation involving multiple people, not just me. But then I remember somehow watching the footage afterwards and hoping that when I came in to bring some swift justice to the situation, I looked cool. And then I never saw myself in the footage. That was it. That's my... And that's why we don't talk about dreams.
You're sure this is I'm on World Star right now. And
this is why we don't talk about dreams, because sometimes... That's how they end. Anyway, I'm sorry. So Jamie's, I don't know. Just tell me.
It's about a delivery mistake, and I think we were talking about this.
I do remember that. Dang it!
Forever ago, I think we were talking about things showing up on the wrong porches. I can't remember.
Oh, I'm dealing with that right now, dude.
Are you really?
Yeah, from Amazon. Which again, this is what I get for using Amazon. But I ordered like a hand mirror, just like this one, Andrew.
Okay, yeah.
I have this one out here.
Hand mirror,
yeah, like a little with a wood handle.
You know what it is? It's exactly the mirror that Smurfette uses.
Yes, and that was the search I did, Smurfette mirror, and I have one out here because if I'm not so much this show, a little bit this show, but if I'm doing something else that we're filming, sometimes I will put a little bit of like concealer on some sort of unsightly blemish on my face. But I had put in a bathroom vanity in my small bathroom that doesn't actually have a mirror on it. I had ordered one. I mean, this. In fact, you know what? This is a cursed situation with this bathroom vanity. The first one I ordered from China, from a company called LitFad, and it was a bathroom vanity mirror that lights up. You plug it in or you wire it in. and then you can touch the mirror, and it actually illuminates the border of the mirror, and then you open it, it's got shelves and whatever, and it was the like super cheapo version of a much more expensive one that I wanted to have, but I didn't want to spend $1,000 on. And you get what you pay for, because the one that showed up from China was the mirror was completely shattered when it got there.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it was just completely destroyed.
Ugh, that's
and it
dangerous.
It's been in a totally like, it's been as bad of a back and forth as you would imagine from a fly-by-night Chinese company trying to get my refund on my $300 whatever. We've now settled on they're going to give me back $140 of it.
And then you're just going to have to find a mirror?
No, what I did was, I mean, it would be the mirror is wired in, you know what I mean? Because it has it's beyond, I could even send you a picture of it. It was actually very upsetting to pull it out because it was like so shattered. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But but also it turned out everything about this thing was what I should have known it would be. If there's like a nice version of something and then I find the Chinese version for $200 or $300, like how is that one $200 or $300 and the one from All Modern is $1,000? Well, because the one from China is like just sawdust taped together. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even real wood. It's some kind of press board that they've then got like a sticker that's supposed to look like wood that goes on it, but the sticker is misapplied. So instead, I just bought like an actually kind of nice but cheap vanity or cabinet that goes above the sink that just doesn't plug into anything and doesn't have a mirror. This is like the guest bathroom. This is not like where I brush my teeth each night or get ready for bed. I have a different bathroom, and that has a big fancy mirror that does light up that did not show up broken. And I was like, you know what would make this all easier? I'm just going to get this nice looking vanity that I like that is a couple $100. It's wood. Put it above the sink, and then I'm going to put a Smurfette mirror. It has a shelf that's attached to it. I put the Smurfette mirror on the shelf. So if somebody is staying over and they're using that bathroom and they want to like check their makeup or whatever, they've got the Smurfette mirror. I order it from Amazon. They tell me it was delivered like a week ago. No sign of it. No sign of it.
And you might have been on the road when it was delivered, right? So,
but nobody has ever like.
Yeah, I don't mean to imply that it was taken. It's just like you weren't here to like sort of even monitor to
exactly.
Yeah. Well, did they take a photo of it? Do you have a delivery photo, and is it delivered?
No, I don't, and that's where I think I'm going to get them. Oh, by the way, I'm on the warpath of getting people right now.
Yeah.
I am going to get the Portland parking police. They got yesterday, Andrew. They messed with the wrong MFer. Okay, so Becca's whole neighborhood down near the Homer Lab is
the Homer District.
In the Homer District, it's all metered, even on Sundays. Which, by the way, on the Lord's Day,
I'm surprised because they don't usually. So that means they're also paying people to monitor those. Yeah, to enforce it. Yeah.
Very irregularly, which is part of the problem. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's not better if they're hardcore about it, but you sort of know what you're getting into. This is one of those games where it's like, okay, I can pay $6 for 2 hours of parking kitty is the particular service they use in Portland. Or I can just, if I park 10 times and don't use parking kitty and don't get a ticket, it's evened out to one parking ticket. You know what I mean? Because it's $6 for 2 hours. A parking ticket is $65 in Portland now. So I'm always trying to do this like kind of, on the fly little, I don't know, roll of the dice versus whatever. Well, yesterday, Beck and I were on this like very epic walk. We walked like 11 miles yesterday. And somewhere in the middle of it, she goes, you know what, I'm going to throw, because she also doesn't pay for parking in her apartment building. So she's also just in them streets. And she goes, I'm going to throw some money on parking kitty. And we're not anywhere near the cars right now. We're like 8 miles away. But I was like, good point. I will too. So we both go on our phones and pay for a couple of hours of the parking. And you know how that works, right? It's like, it just, you put in the number is saved now of the zone that her building is in. So pay for the thing, whatever.
It's a great technological advancement, though, isn't it? Being able to refill, like, you get a warning 10 or 15 minutes before your parking is about to expire. No matter where you are, you can add a little bit of money, as long as you don't hit the 2-hour limit or if there's a limit on the street. But I mean, that's a huge improvement.
Majorly. Yeah, no, I think this is a good technology. And so we throw the whatever on there, and then we get back from our little walkabout, And there's my car, and it's got a friggin' ticket on it. And I was like, oh, man. And we're like, and she's like, it must have just been like right before, like, because there's like an hour, like I think they start at noon maybe, and like at 1 we had thrown the money on there or something. She was like, it must have just been like right at noon or right before we put the money on. I was like, yeah, what a bummer. So I'm just kind of like dejected and bummed and just got like a $65 charge or whatever. And then she goes, what time was the ticket? And I go, you know what, that's a good point. Let's just find out. I'm curious. Pull the thing out. The ticket was for 3 p.m. My parking money was from 1:30 to 3:30.
There you go, Tim Robinson. I don't know why you slipped into some Tim Robinson
I've got receipts.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, you got
I've got them dead to rights.
So
and
what
I
were
even
they
double checked that.
thinking?
It's
might have been a
it just-
malfunction or something.
I must have been a malfunction or whatever. I mean, Becca was saying maybe they like they give these tickets out and just put the onus on the people to. Now, what I didn't have was I had not gone to the little kiosk, gotten a receipt, put it in my whatever, but in my dashboard, but just they should scan my license plate, and then the system should tell them that my license plate is associated with my car, which is associated with the window of time that I've paid off.
They still have little tickets there that you put in your window. So
I don't know. I mean, I never do that anymore.
You shouldn't have to, right? We don't even have those in Seattle anymore. It's all just like you pull out your phone, you pay via the app, and they have an app that should clear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not pulled. If there is a paper ticket, I haven't tried to pull one in years now, so I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I'm like, it's like I went from being so mad, Andrew, to being so excited.
Yeah, right.
to be like for once, and I mean maybe the first time in my life, to actually be on the right side of one of these things, as opposed to fibbing, being like, I couldn't see the sign because there was shrubbery, and hoping that they like. I'm most of the time, let's be honest, lying through my teeth in these scenarios. I got them cold. I got them dead to rights. Even because sometimes if I don't know the code of the area, if that makes any sense, because the different areas you park have different like 4 or 5 digit codes. Maybe sometimes I'm putting the wrong one in or whatever. This was the right code for the sign. I walked over and double checked it. This was the right date. This was the right. It just didn't make it into the parking person's little system that my car was. And I'm like, I went from being so kind of just like, man, that just really stinks. $65 out of my pocket, due to my, I don't know, just lack of good decision making, to being like, I cannot wait. I'm going to like put a bib on.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like a cartoon wolf.
Yeah, that's
a sheep.
literally what I was picturing. I was picturing the cartoon wolf from Looney Tunes.
I'm going to have a big knife and a fork. I don't know how that's relevant, but like, I am so looking forward to calling the parking magistrate people. I'm not going to be mean to them because the person who answers the phone has nothing to do with this. I'm just like, I am really excited about this.
Well, I have, this is something I've been meaning to mention to you. And, I keep threatening to have Genevieve on the show. Let's talk about this maybe
let's make
off
good on
air.
that threat.
Yeah, and let's do that.
Actually, I've got an idea for that, which we can talk about.
I think you and I have the same idea that we'll talk about off air. But this is a development in our lives. Do you remember? Sorry, I've been thinking about that Michael Jackson song. Do you remember the time?
Do you remember the time when we first met?
That was the one directed by John Singleton, right? Wasn't that the video that had like
Eddie Murphy in it? It's kind of like an
Eddie
Egyptian
Murphy
motif.
and Magic Johnson, I believe, plays a guard.
And Peter Sagal from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, except
he got cut.
They ended up cutting his scene because all the other stuff took so long that they had him in full makeup and full outfit. And then that whatever the scene was that Segal was supposed to be in, they just were like, we just have to cut that from the video.
He was supposed to be embracing Iman. Is that who the?
Iman, the model.
Iman. I knew I was saying her name wrong. Anyway, do you remember when Genevieve accidentally left her telephone on a city bus about a month and a half ago, and we had a real adventure of us in our car chasing this bus down, trying to use various GPS technology and knowing the route. And Genevieve had her laptop in the car, like some sort of a hacker as I'm driving fast. Actually, not even that fast.
There was an old Robert Redford in the back seat for some reason. We couldn't quite figure out the age.
No, it wasn't actually him, as somebody pointed out, as a different actor. My whole rant on that crumbled. Anyway, guess what Genevieve got in the mail the other day? a ticket for driving in a bus-only lane. After I told this story, a very sharp...
a photo ticket?
A sharp-eared listener who doesn't even live in Seattle anymore texted me and said, wait a second, the way you're describing this bus route sounds like you were in bus-only lanes. I know this area of downtown. I'm worried about this. And I wrote back, yeah, we were in bus lanes. I didn't realize it at the time because I was so hyper-focused, but later on, as we're pulling away, I was like, oh, after Genevieve reclaimed her phone and we're waving to the bus driver, we realized, oh, we're in an area where only buses are even allowed to be on this whole road.
Oh, shoot. Like you went fully down in like the tunnel or something?
It wasn't quite the tunnel, but it's an area where all the streets are painted red. I believe that's a U2 song. So,
yeah,
Genevieve, but think about this.
Yeah.
Who got that ticket? Genevieve got that ticket. Now, the car is in both of our names. I believe her name is first. I don't know if that really matters.
I'm going to walk you through this.
But the ticket came in Genevieve's name. She has a moving violation, and she has checked the box that says, I want a hearing on this. Now, originally the hearing was, hey, listen, I left my phone on the bus. We had to do some, dramatic exploits to get that back. Maybe the court will feel, somewhat
maybe they'll get sucked into the speed 2 nature of this adventure.
But then the more so she already, I don't know when the hearing is, and I don't know if it's in person or not, but then we were talking again the other day, she thinks it's in person. She thinks that they wouldn't want to make it too easy by having it a Zoom hearing. I'm like, I don't know. But if that came to her and it's a moving violation on her name, she wasn't behind the wheel. I was. I think the whole thing is null and void.
Yes. It is. I am a little worried that we went the hearing route because, and I don't know exactly what this form looks like anymore, but I used to get these tickets occasionally in Seattle, not for being in a bus lane, but for being like a rolling stop at, like there was this one particular intersection up actually by Alderwood Mall where it would get you, it was like a right turn on a red light.
But if you're video only,
it could tell you'll be sorry
if
you don't come to a complete, like it was like a traffic camera that was monitoring your speed of your vehicle and could tell that if you did not come to a full and complete stop at the red and then go right, it would issue you a ticket, which I think is pretty tough. But and in other speed cams and things. And what I learned to do was to just say I was not driving, and then there was part of the form that said, well, who was driving? And I would write, I'm not comfortable answering that question. And then just put it on them to further investigate. And I got out of every single one of them. What I'm a little worried about is if
snitches get stitches.
Yep.
Who was driving? Well, snitches get stitches.
Exactly. I mean, and that was really, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that I told you. I'm bouncing off the walls today. Remember when I went to LA and I forgot to bring my audio equipment? And so I had to ask the very sweet Uber driver to take me not just from LAX to the hotel, but to make a stop at the Best Buy. So I jump out of the car and I just kept saying, I promise you this is going to be so fast, which is a big promise when you're outside of a mall. You have to go into the mall. Then you have to buy a USB microphone.
In a place that you're unfamiliar with, too.
Yes, it's not running into, like a convenience store to buy a bottle of water or something, or whatever we think the fastest, I'm actually kind of surprised that the rideshare even lets you add stops. And they do a whole thing where they're like, please keep it under 5 minutes. And I'm like, I mean, I guess they are charging you a little bit more for it, but it's still, it feels to me to be very rude to the driver. And so, anyway, I got the stuff and I come back, we're driving through Culver City, actually, over by where the Tattletale was and where NPR West is. And there's all these intersections on Jefferson that are very heavily cameraed. And I said, I'm just making small talk. I go, yeah, I used to get tickets here sometimes from these cameras. And he goes, oh, yeah, I have a system. He goes, I just never respond. I go, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, you just don't respond. They mail it to you. You don't even look it up online, because if you look it up, they can tell. I was like, oh,
brother,
buddy.
I don't think this is how
buddy,
this works.
He goes, yeah, as long as you don't look it up, as long as you don't respond. In other words, as long as you bury your head so deep in the sand, they can't touch you. And I thought, oh, my friend.
He thinks it's like an Evite where they can see whether or not you logged in.
Exactly. He thinks that's a perfect analogy. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, no, what you do is you lie to them and say you weren't driving, and then that you're not going to tell them who was driving, and then they're kind of out of options at that point. I've learned from experience on this one, not responding and also not ever like going to the website and looking it up is not the answer to this.
Yeah, ask him to sit behind the computer and Google bench warrant. Let's see. Let's see.
So
by the way,
really excited to hear how this goes for
by
Views,
the way. Yes, so there's that. And also, I probably will forget to bring this aspect up in tomorrow's grand conversation about this Columbo episode that I'm obsessed with. But a sidebar of that is this episode we were watching does have to do with this doesn't have to do with my particular mystery in the show, but the plot itself has to do with a traffic camera. But the episode came out in 1991, so he's got so it's actually film cameras that are set up in these boxes, and him and this tech go out and like swap out the camera. I was like, this is crazy. But
to the Genevieve thing very quickly, and we can talk about this with her. What I'm curious, in fact, this is only interesting if we have Genevieve here to answer the question. I'm wondering if Genevieve is ready to, if she's prepared for and if she's comfortable with lying.
No, she's not.
Lying or not lying, but refusing to give the information of who was the driver to a
that's
magistrate.
Interesting. Maybe
so not lying.
Maybe she'll change her mind after she talks to you, because that's a good point. I guess it didn't occur to me that they could just transfer the guilt over to me. Because we were having a conversation about this. She said, I have no desire in any way to lie in a court of law. But
good policy, just a good life policy.
She just said, but I can just simply say I was not driving. Yes. My partner was driving, co-owner of the car. But it didn't occur to me that the court would be able to turn around and then pin it on me.
Now, I don't know if that's the current. Well, that's the other thing. I don't know what the current state of affairs is, because I haven't dealt with one of these in a long time. There was a period of time where I was filling these out, and it was like a handwritten thing, which was like, if you are not the driver, who was the driver? So that was a thing at one time. I don't know if that's still what they do. Again, I haven't seen the form in a long time. But,
we'll find out.
Yeah, I can't wait, because what I would just love it if Vives goes in front of the judge and says, I was not driving. They say, well, then who was? And he said, I am not comfortable answering that question.
Yeah.
Your move. Magistrate.
All I want her to do is yell, we need men like me on these walls. That's all
right.
that. I've never seen that movie, by the way. I don't know how close I came to actually getting that Jack Nicholson line right, but I will tell you,
pretty close.
It is his grandson who is on the cover of Norman Effin Rockwell. That's the important thing to remember.
That's when we've finally gotten back there. So now back to Jamie's voicemail.
I was wondering if you remember
about
that we
missed
had to do that.
deliveries.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew, it's the weave, buddy. It's the weave, and I'm doing it. The game is slowed down for me today.
Okay, here we go. This is Jamie with a story about a delivery mistake.
Hey, this is listener Jamie in Mississippi. Thank you for being my place to voice my outrage when my family is sick of hearing about it. I recently ordered delivery from Walmart, was in kind of a hurry, and they say it's on their way, be there 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm watching, and and they're not there. I'm sitting on the porch, and then they say delivered. And the person who was delivering had the gall to turn around and take a picture of the groceries still in their car and say delivered. So I call immediately within 5 minutes, get a refund, whatever. 3 weeks later, my neighbor who is redoing an old house, they live in California, they only come, every once in a while, found these sacks of groceries on their front porch. Some things were perishable, like popsicles, and other things were fine. So I got a double load of those things. But how did this happen? How did they take a picture of it in their car? Did they have second thoughts and come back once I called customer service? I still have not gotten to the bottom of the mystery. But I'm glad. Thank you for letting me vent to a fresh person about delivery. Power out.
So this delivery person, I was a little confused there for a second, but it sounds like the delivery person, for their proof of delivery photo, just took a photo of the groceries in the back seat. That seems like if anybody's going to call to complain, you kind of got them dead to rights there.
Yeah, although I feel like that's also what I would start doing at some point. And I don't want to I don't want to blame the victim here, which is our friend Jamie. But I don't know, I just feel so much empathy for the people that are doing the various delivery services, because it really is kind of, it's at a pretty tough rung of the kind of income ladder. And it's just, there's just so many ways that you could get hassled. And if everything goes right, you might make a little bit of money on a particular shift. But if things start to go wrong, you're just like, losing time and and money, etc. Like, so sometimes if I get any stuff delivered out here, particularly if it's like a DoorDash or whatever, I will go to meet the person, and they'll be getting out of the car, and I'll just like accept the thing that they're handing me, and they'll be like, "Oh, I got to take a picture of it." They'll just take a picture of me holding it or whatever.
I've done that once or twice.
Like, and it's kind of like they're, I could see a world in which the person is just like they get into a habit or a system where it's like, I'm at the location, I just took a picture. And also maybe this is a little bit of like shadiness on their part, where if the picture is in front of the wrong, I mean, actually, honestly, I think they'd be better off. This is the move to any delivery drivers listening. The move is you drop it off on whatever you think the right porch is, but then you just take a very close-up picture. That's actually...
So you don't see the context. Because
that would put Jamie in a worse place than the car. The car is a dead giveaway, right?
Yes, I see what you're saying, because there have been just once or twice.
I don't know why I'm trying to help delivery drivers deliver to the wrong place and get away with it. But
I've gotten a delivery photo where it's pretty clear. It's like, wait a second, because Genevieve was even showing me one. She says, "Look, this thing says it's delivered, and here's a photo, but I did not get it." I'm like, well, you do have to like kind of, if it's a close up, you have to be like, wait a second, look at that. That's like a gray brick right there. We don't have a gray brick right there. Like, I know that I've had to look very closely at photos before, and so you're right. Like, the more context, the better. A wide shot is going to prove the driver delivered it to the right place better.
But also, it's like what I feel like with the DoorDash and so many of these things is it's like the scale of these operations are so massive that it's like, I don't know. It's most of the time, in my experience, if I complain about something, if it's not a huge ticket item, like with DoorDash or whatever, they'll just issue me a refund. I got some taco time a week or two ago, and they literally just brought the wrong stuff, which I don't blame the driver. I think that they handed the wrong stuff out of the window, but they were just like, literally, I sent one note to DoorDash, and I was like, hey, the wrong stuff showed up, and they were just like, boom, they just put the entire order, it was like 25, you can't order anything on DoorDash for like under $25. Just immediately refunded it to my account. I could have been lying. I could have been a malingerer with this stuff. So usually I feel like you get relief, but now something happened when I was in Kansas City, which is I ordered some stuff from this like deli. I ordered like a sandwich, and I got charged for it, and I could never find it at the hotel. And in fact, I don't think it was ever brought to the hotel. I think they took it to the wrong hotel. This hotel I was in has two distinct areas like that are connected by a sky bridge. Maybe it was at the wrong one. But for some reason on this one, DoorDash did an investigation and decided that they did deliver it, which did not happen, and they're not refunding me the money. And what I'm finding with this one is, sorry that I'm just taking Jamie's story and running with it, but like, if you get lucky and they decide for whatever reason that like they're just going to like comp you back the money, you're fine. But if you have to try to escalate it past that, I'm in this like sort of Kafka-esque world now with DoorDash where they have decided that I got this order from Mr. Pickle's Deli in Kansas City, or Pickleman's maybe, and I didn't get it, but because my complaint has been filed under like invalid, I cannot for the life of me get anyone there, a human being, to either chat with me or talk with me to say, I don't know what you want. I don't know what your investigation was, but I never got this thing. So I guess my point in that whole story is like, it's weird how in this world of delivery that a lot of us live in now, there's a layer of it where it's actually very user friendly and like, hey, they forgot my whatever. And it's like, bling, here's your money back. But then there's this other level where you have a real problem, they're not addressing it, and there's no way to get remedy.
Yeah, weirdly, I even got the bad feeling when you sort of said they'll just like so quickly just credit your money back or just send you a new order. And it's like, that's said in the same breath as these delivery drivers are barely even breaking even to survive on this. And it's just like, and then when you add this layer, which is probably the biggest issue here, of just like it's all run by bots and no humans, and it is just so. I mean, you and I have been talking. We used the movie Brazil from the early 1980s. We've been using it long before we were talking about AI and handing so many like human jobs and especially service jobs over to dumb computers. But like it is this just absolute. Frustrating doesn't even begin to cover the feelings that you get when you just sort of like, oh, we're just locked in this world where for the most part, these companies are so big and they have so much of this built into the price. It's like, yeah, just throw this guy another $25. But the second you're on the wrong side of that and you need to actually complain, there's no human. I put a. I don't think I told you this. A couple when I was in Las Vegas, I had a really, I mean, this is so rare for me to sort of tattle on a driver. In fact, it might have been the only time I'd ever done it. But we were running late for something. I think maybe it was just a reservation, but it was for a specific time for brunch or something like that. And we're there outside the Vidara, and as you know this area, Luke, but like it's this kind of to pick up and drop people off. It's this big looping sort of driving infrastructure that is kind of tied into some of the other buildings around.
Doesn't
there
it have that
area.
like giant art piece that's like a million canoes?
Yes, and you were standing outside the canoes, but I don't know how well you can sort of picture it. And the roadways themselves are almost arty in the way they sort of circle around. They're like a series of almost like fully circular on-ramps sort of. So I could see it being somewhat confusing, but we saw on the app our driver in a minivan getting closer and closer and closer to us, and we're like, oh, and there it is. And then he just kept driving. And we're like, hey, stop. And then he's just gone. And then I'm just staring at the map as it's like, oh, the driver will be here in 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. As I'm watching him just circle and circle and circle. And then we get there, and there's like, it's not like a super dirty car, but like, somebody had left their fast food cup or something in the seat, like in front of me. You know, if I'm the passenger and it's you know, in the back seat, and this thing is in that little thing on, you know, that little marsupial pouch on the back of the seat in front of you. Yeah. And like, I'm already mad. We're running late. I have to call the restaurant to say, hey, we're going to be coming in hot or whatever. Please save the reservation.
Call the comedy show.
I have to call the comedy show, say, great job again. And also say, hey, by the way, somebody left their garbage back here. And not even an apology or like, hey, sorry about that. Like, we ended up waiting forever. So anyway, when I wrote a little, like, you know, bad star, you know, probably like 1 star or something, and kind of gave a very, very brief description of how the service was bad. And again, still paid and still probably gave $1 tip, although I don't know, but that'd be like the lowest level for me. But I immediately got a response that said, it sounds like you might be in trouble or danger or an unsafe situation. Is this true? And if so, let us know. Or just click this button if you just wanted to let us know about the service. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, we're not in danger or anything. I just wanted to let you know. And there's like, okay, thanks. Okay, that was my experience in Vegas. Cut to last weekend, I want to say. I took a Lyft somewhere. And I really appreciated that the Lyft driver properly went around the roundabout. And I feel like,
unlike your
you
neighbor.
and I talked about this. Yeah, you go around the roundabout. And I was, in so many drivers in Seattle don't do that. In other words, you have
always
these little
go
roundabouts.
to the right.
You go to the right, and you go around the roundabout until you get to the street that you want to take the exit. It is a little confusing here on the West Coast because these roundabouts are used as just like these very, very small little roundabouts that are used to sort of mitigate speed in neighborhoods. But when when you drive on the East Coast, you have much larger roundabouts, or even Wait, you and I were driving around some pretty large roundabouts, I think, when we were with Sklarov. So there are different kinds of roundabouts, and when they're small like this and it's just like a little intersection, I can understand why it's a little bit confusing. But people will just take a left and basically cut off the roundabout, and it drives me bonkers. Follow the rules.
Well, it's also dangerous. If somebody is coming up and somebody else is about to take a right on that street, you would crash into them.
The whole point, which actually happened. There's a roundabout outside of my house, and that actually almost happened to me the other day because the person was just like cutting the corner and going on the left. So anyway, all of that is to say, kind of drives me crazy that drivers do that. And I was in a Lyft, probably had a few drinks. I think I was coming back from the Eagles or something. I know I'm by myself, and this guy picks me up, and the first intersection we get to with a little roundabout, I notice, and he's a younger guy, but he follows the rule, and I love it. And then I'm trying to think if we talked or something, but I just remember when I got home, I gave him a larger than usual tip, like one that was, like, I don't even know. I'm not saying it wasn't an expensive ride, but it was like I had to type in the tip, it wasn't one of the pre ones, and I wrote, I just really appreciate that he used the roundabout the right way. So I gave like 5 stars, a bigger than usual tip, and a compliment. But I immediately got a note back that says, it sounds like you're in danger. Is there anything we can do?
Really?
And I'm just like, come on, AI. Like, I'm just so sick of just like knowing that everything we write is just, nobody's actually reading it. Nobody cares. It's just going into some machine that is kind of like, oh, is this a liability? Is this a liability?
Exactly.
Danger, Will Rogers. Danger, Will Rogers. Is it Rogers? I think it's Rogers. Robinson, before my time. Anyway, as you know, I like to bring the young content.
Whereas Will
to the
Rogers
show.
was exactly your time. The singing cowboy.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, that was a long, boring story, but it is just so frustrating that like, oh no, and we're not going to go back to a time when there's more and more human interaction. You know, we're just handing more and more of our lives over to this just absolutely senseless machine that cannot help us. And if we ever end up on the wrong side, and I'm not making a joke like, oh, I welcome our robot overlords. I'm not trying to make a joke about this. I mean, literally small things in life. But if you end up on the wrong side of it, like that bank that wouldn't return that woman's money or whatever, or she, she accidentally
she was
put
at
too
like
large
a
of a vape
store and accidentally hit the wrong button for the tip.
Instead of a $5 tip, it was a $500 tip, and then she just literally couldn't get a human to fix it. And her only recourse was to finally go to the media, and then it was like what bank was it? It was the sleazy bank that did all the
Washington Mutual?
No, it's a national bank that got in trouble, got in huge trouble for lying to people and starting new accounts for people. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, yes.
I'm just going to keep naming.
No, it was
banks.
Wells Fargo. Huge scandal.
Just slandering banks.
But what a shitty organization.
Yeah. Well, and you're right too. Like, it's what's so frustrating about it is that the reason that you've already said this, so we don't need me to continue on this beautiful Monday. But it's like the auto-generated "Are you in danger?" is not because anybody at any level of the company is worried about your safety or Genevieve's safety or my safety. It's because some lawyers or possibly a chat, like an AI program that's replaced the lawyers, has identified a potential liability issue. And because, in fact, it's a kind of a real thing. Like I both don't like it when crime is like over described. I don't like this idea that the world is this super dangerous place that's trying to get all of us all the time. Therefore, we need to be armed and we need to be afraid of the world, et cetera. That being said, there is some real issues around some of the rideshare stuff because you have particularly like women maybe have been out at the bars, are inebriated, and then are getting into cars with people they don't know. And it's like a legitimate issue in some towns. And that comes with this whole, that's an unintended consequence of this sort of capitalism run amok, which is we're going to just turn everyone's car into a taxi cab if we want. And we're not going to have any of the cars or really any of the responsibility. We're just going to create like a very complicated dispatch service where then we harvest all the money. And so somewhere in all of that, there's like now risk around how the drivers are behaving. And so now this completely not thought through, auto-generated little "Are you okay?" is the response to the downstream effects of rampant capitalism.
Yes,
essentially.
Yeah. When I was on, we should wrap up. When I was on KUOW on Friday, talking about all kinds of stuff and talking about like taxes. There's like this proposed tax on income. It would be the first income tax in Washington State that would be taxed on just any money you make over $1 million in a year. So they call it the millionaire's tax. It's not even like
feels survivable.
Yeah, and it's not even like, oh, if you make over $1 million, we're taxing all your income. It's only money over $1 million.
Right. It's tiered like most taxes, probably.
Right. And I was on with this woman who is like, I guess she considers herself like a moderate Seattle sort of Democrat kind of person, but like also like she said that she's like, oh, this is just eating. She said a bunch of stuff about it, but essentially she just ended her argument by saying this is just like eating the rich to eat the rich. And I was just like, serve them up. I literally
eating
said
the
like,
rich because they're delicious.
Actually, that's literally what I said. I said, sounds delicious to me. And then I went on this whole thing. And then I said, I was like, I'm just not worried about taxes like bringing down our economy, especially at this stage of capitalism and what we see with these companies that are not like operating on a level playing field. I said, what's bad for small business? Big businesses. What's bad for small businesses is Amazon. And I just go on about how Amazon is like basically acquired enough power and wealth to create an unlevel playing field for what used to be like the capitalist dream of anybody has a chance. And like, I can't go to as somebody who doesn't shop on Amazon anymore, I am acutely aware of how impossible it is to shop anywhere but Amazon. And so anyway, I kind of go on this little thing. And then afterwards, I hear the host, our friend Bill Radke, say to her, like, oh, yeah, so you can't say you're from Amazon, huh? I had no idea. She works for Amazon, and I did not realize that. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think I would have been maybe more in my head about it, or more equivocal. Is equivocal the right word? I would have been equivocating about it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't know. And also, I stand by what I said, but it was sort of funny that I was sort of like, because I'm very non-confrontational on that show and off. I'm not looking to score points or win or anything, but it was kind of funny that she was only allowed to say that she like works in tech or something, because, you know, whoever is her.
I love that
supervisor.
Bill, though, outed that. That's actually good.
Off air, he said that. Off air. No, he had. And she did not respond to me, and so she had never said anything that would have been like her representing that company. Right. It was sort of interesting. I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't know that, because I felt like I was a little bit bolder going into my opinion there.
Yeah, no, I think that was good. Well said, too. So,
well, maybe.
All right. I think that's quite enough out of us for a Monday.
Yeah, we started that email segment an hour ago, I think. Darn close to, right? 45 minutes or something.
But no time to talk McDonald's, but time for me to talk about late-stage capitalism.
Well, tomorrow's Columbo Day, so
yes,
people are excited about that.
Happy Columbo Day to all who celebrate. Coming tomorrow. By the way, you know what you probably saw me maybe with the binocs out. I don't know how much you see what I'm doing here, but I was looking down at the mighty Columbia, because you know what I'm watching, or was watching?
Porpoises?
A sea lion chasing around fish and jumping out of the water and eating fish and being sea lion-y. And what I would say is to all of the haters and the losers, I know the difference between a sea lion and a group of harbor porpoises. And the way that I know that is because I was just looking at a sea lion and I didn't think it was harbor porpoises. So
did you see your representative who this is going to make you mad, was like bragging about like passing something that will allow more sea lions to be killed? Glusenkamp Perez, I can't think of her first name right now. Marie, were you following this? She called them like river rats or something like that.
I wasn't following that, but I'm not totally shocked. And I don't know, I'm watching one of them kill a bunch of fish, so maybe there's something to it.
I think that like people who are like, maybe like, because you and I would see something like that and be like, oh, the beauty of nature, but I guess they're kind of a bit of a menace in the ecosystem or something. But she called them some name on social media that I was like, oh, I hope Luke doesn't see this. This is his friends that she's targeting.
My friends, well, they don't come for the harbor porpoises, MGP, that's all I ask. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be right back here tomorrow with more Columbo talk for you. So please join us for that. In the meantime, have a great Monday. Take care of yourselves. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.